The knife in my hand hovered over the turkey, trembling. Not because I was weak, but because I was holding myself back. Thanksgiving dinner. A table packed with the same people who once tucked me in, who once swore we were family. But tonight, their eyes dripped with venom. First my mother, Margaret. Her voice sliced through the laughter like a razor. "You've become an embarrassment, Claire," she spat, loud enough for my 9-year-old son Ethan to hear. Then came my aunt, Vivian, rolling her eyes with a mocking snort. My brother, Daniel, shook his head slowly, his lips curling into a smug, pitying smile. And finally my father, Richard. He didn't just speak. He roared. His fists slammed the table, rattling the glasses. "Get out. Now." The silence that followed wasn't silence at all. It was their victory lap. The sound of their cruelty echoing inside my chest. I didn't beg. I didn't argue. I just placed my napkin down, locked eyes with my father, and whispered 2 words. "All right." Ethan's small hand clutched mine as we walked out into the cold night. But inside me, something fierce was rising. A storm they couldn't see. They had no idea who I'd become. They never cared enough to ask. 10 years ago, when Ethan's father abandoned me, this very family mocked me, laughed at me, told me I'd never make it. That night, I swore a promise to myself. I would rise. Not for revenge, but for survival. So while they gossiped, I worked. While they slept, I studied. I built businesses they couldn't even pronounce. By the time I was 35, I wasn't just surviving. I had built a $58 million empire. Here's the delicious irony. The very roof over their heads. The cars they flaunted. The family trust fund my father bragged about at barbecues. Every penny mine. They had been feasting on my success for years, parasites too blind to notice the hand that fed them. And still, they spat on me. That night, as Ethan drifted to sleep, I made my choice. Not out of rage. Out of clarity. I opened my laptop. With a few clicks, I froze the accounts I had created for them. Cancelled the credit cards. Pulled the plug on the mortgage, the cars, the insurance. By sunrise, the lifeline they had mistaken for their own strength was gone. I didn't wait for their calls. Instead, I booked 2 first-class tickets to my beach house in Maui, a home they never even knew existed. The ocean greeted us like an old friend. The waves were calm, steady, while thousands of miles away, their world crumbled. The messages started pouring in. First confusion, then anger, then desperation. Declined cards, repossessed cars, empty accounts, the inheritance. Finally my father's text came. "What have you done?" My reply was simple. What I should have done years ago. Days later the inevitable knock came. I opened the door, and there they were. "Bill. Hello." Stripped of arrogance. My father's booming voice was gone, replaced with a shaky whisper. "Claire, we need to talk." I let them in, not to welcome them, but to watch them step into a house that would never be theirs. They looked around in silence, realizing the truth. This was the life I had built without them. The life they mocked me for chasing. My mother, Margaret, spoke at last, her tone softer, almost pleading. "You can't just leave us like this." Smiled. Controlled. "You left me years ago. I just returned the favor." They begged. They bargained. Tried to wrap their desperation in the word family. But I saw through them. They didn't want me. They wanted what I gave them. I leaned forward, my words sharp as broken glass. "You called me a disgrace. You threw me out. And yet, every bite of food, every brick in your homes, every thread of your clothes came from me. You've been feeding on me like leeches. But tonight it ends." Silence. Crushing, heavy silence. Then I gave them the final cut. "You wanted me gone. Congratulations. I'm gone. And so is everything you thought was yours." They left hollow, broken, carrying nothing but the weight of their own cruelty. And me. Stayed. I sat on the veranda, coffee in hand, waves crashing before me. Ethan ran to me, laughing. His smile brighter than it had been in years. One day I'll tell him everything. He'll know that silence is not weakness, it's precision. I wasn't the disgrace. I was the empire. And empires don't beg. They rise. They rule. And when betrayed, they erase.